That whisper. It finds you when you are most vulnerable. It could be from a colleague over lukewarm coffee, a well-meaning relative at a family gathering, or a faceless avatar in some digital forum promising you the moon. The whisper carries a name, a stock symbol. And with that name comes a story, a secret. They're about to release a revolutionary product. A big institution is accumulating a massive position. There's a buyout coming, guaranteed. It feels like a key, doesn't it? A golden key handed directly to you, meant to unlock a vault of effortless wealth. It bypasses all the hard work, the study of charts, the analysis of fundamentals, the agonizing wait for the proper setup. The whisper tells you that you are special. You have been chosen to receive this inside knowledge, and the feeling is intoxicating. It is a potent cocktail of greed and hope, and it is the most dangerous poison on Wall Street. You feel a jolt, a surge of adrenaline. Your mind races. You imagine the profits. You see yourself getting in before the crowd, riding the wave up and selling at the top to the fools who didn't have your information. The temptation to act immediately is almost unbearable. This is not logic. This is not speculation. This is a primal human flaw, a deep-seated desire for a shortcut. It is the same weakness that makes a man play a rigged card game or buy a map to a non-existent treasure. The belief that this time, for you, the rules of effort and reward are suspended. Wall Street was built on this flaw. It thrives on it. The entire machinery of promotion and distribution is designed to appeal to this very human yearning to get something for nothing. Why do you think rumors are so effective? Because they relieve you of the burden of thinking. A man would rather be told what to do than do the work of figuring it out for himself. It is easier to believe than it is to analyze. And when that belief is tied to the promise of quick riches, it becomes an addiction. The public wants to be led. They want to be told what to buy, when to buy it, and when to sell. They will pay good money for this advice, and they will pay even more in the market when that advice inevitably leads to their financial ruin. Let me tell you about a master of this game. His name was Thomas W. Lawson of Boston, a man who could charm a bird out of a tree and a speculator out of his life savings. In my early days, I watched him orchestrate one of the most brilliant and ruthless campaigns of public manipulation I have ever witnessed. The stock was Anaconda. At the time, it was a part of a larger conglomerate, Amalgamated Copper. Lawson began by publishing a series of sensational articles, a campaign he called Frenzied Finance. In these articles, he didn't just talk about copper, he spun a grand narrative. He painted a picture of a titanic struggle between powerful financial titans, with himself positioned as the champion of the small investor. He wrote with such conviction, with such a flair for the dramatic, that the public was utterly captivated. He created a market for his own words before he even began to create a market for the stock. He told them that powerful interests were trying to suppress the price of Anaconda, but that he and his insiders were fighting back, accumulating shares for a tremendous rise. He didn't just give a tip, he gave them a crusade. He made every man who bought a share of Anaconda feel like a soldier in his army, fighting against the dark forces of Wall Street. The result was predictable. The public went mad for the stock. Every tick-up was seen as proof that Lawson was a genius, a prophet. The buying was relentless. Barbers, waiters, doctors, lawyers, they all poured their money into Anaconda, not based on its value or the trend of the copper market, but based on the siren song of Lawson's prose. They weren't speculating. They were gambling on a man's story. What they didn't know, of course, was that Lawson and his syndicate had accumulated their massive line of stock at much lower prices. The public's frantic buying was not the beginning of a great bull move. It was the final act. It was the distribution phase. Lawson's articles, his inside information, his carefully crafted rumors, they were all sucker bait. He created the public demand he needed to unload his shares at a tremendous profit, and when the last share was sold, the buying pressure vanished. The articles stopped. The stock, no longer supported by the pool's manipulation, collapsed under its own weight, wiping out the thousands of hopeful amateurs who had believed the whisper. I saw it happen. I watched the tape as the life drained out of that stock, and I learned a lesson that has been worth millions to me. A speculator must be a student of human nature, and he must know that behind every rumor and every widespread tip, there is almost always a motive of self-interest. The man who gives you the tip is rarely trying to make you rich. He is trying to make himself rich. That entire episode, from the first planted article to the last share sold to a deluded public, is a perfect chapter in the eternal book of speculation. If you want to understand the true psychology of speculation, you must read the one book that defines the game. I'm talking about Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It is not historical. It is a permanent education in human nature and market cycles. The book is pure truth. Get your copy today. The link is in the description below. The lesson from Anaconda is not an artifact of a bygone era. It is more relevant today than it ever was. The technology has changed, but the game is the same. The bucket shops have been replaced by sleek digital platforms. The ticker tape is now a high-definition screen on your desk, your phone, your watch. And the whispers, the rumors, they are no longer confined to the smoky back rooms of brokerage houses or the columns of newspapers. They now travel at the speed of light. Today, the rumor mill is a global 24/7 operation. It lives in online forums, in social media groups, in instant messaging channels. Anonymous accounts with clever names become the new Thomas W. Lawsons, spinning tales of short squeezes, secret technologies, and imminent takeovers. They create a sense of community, an us against them mentality. They post charts with arrows pointing to the heavens. They build a narrative so compelling, so filled with hope, that people suspend their judgment. You see it happen. A little-known stock, perhaps in the technology or biotech sector, suddenly comes to life. It moves up 5%, then 10, then 20 in a single day on massive volume. You check the news, there is none. You check the company's filings, nothing. But you go to the forums, and it is a hornet's nest of activity. This is the one. To the moon. Hold the line. The fear of missing out, what you people now call FOMO, is a powerful intoxicant. It is a form of mob psychology. You see the price rising, you read the ecstatic posts, and you feel a panic rising in your chest. The thought of not participating, of being left behind while everyone else gets rich, is a greater pain than the fear of losing money. So you jump in. You buy the stock at a price that has no relation to its value, purely because it is moving and because a crowd of strangers on the internet told you it would go higher. You have just made the classic sucker's play. You have become the exit liquidity. The men who started that rumor, the pool operators of the modern age, likely bought their shares weeks or months ago when the stock was quiet and cheap. They accumulated their line, and then they began the campaign. They seeded the rumors. They perhaps used algorithms to create initial buying pressure. They lit the match, and now they are fanning the flames with stories and hype, waiting for you, the public, to rush into the fire. And as you are buying with breathless excitement, they are quietly, methodically, selling their shares to you. They are distributing. Once their inventory is gone, they disappear. The hype vanishes. The buying pressure evaporates. And you are left holding a stock at an inflated price with no buyers in sight, watching its value plummet back to where it started, or even lower. How do you protect yourself from this? The answer is simple in principle, but difficult in practice. You must cultivate intellectual and emotional independence. You must learn to trust the market's own testimony and nothing else. I have said it my entire career, the tape is the only thing that matters. The price action, in conjunction with the volume, is the ultimate truth. It is the footprint of the big money. It tells you what the insiders are doing, not what they are saying. A stock that is the subject of bullish rumors should behave in a bullish way. It should advance on increasing volume and react on diminishing volume. It should follow the line of least resistance, which is upward. If instead you see a stock being hyped relentlessly, yet it struggles to make new highs, or it churns on massive volume without making any progress, that is a danger signal. The tape is telling you that for every share the public is buying, someone else is selling a share. Distribution is taking place under the cover of good news. You must be an analyst, not a believer. When you hear a rumor, your first question should not be, is this true? Your first question should be, who benefits from my believing this? Follow the money. Rumors are tools. They are weapons used by professionals to separate the public from their cash. To ignore them is not to be ignorant. It is to be disciplined. It is to recognize that any information that has reached you has likely already been acted upon by those with real knowledge. By the time you hear the whisper, the big money has already been made. I learned to make my decisions based on facts, not on hope. I would wait for the market to confirm my judgment. A speculator must not be an investor. His business is to back his judgment about the impending movements of prices. If I bought a stock, I wanted to see it move up immediately. That was my confirmation that my timing was right and my judgment was sound. If it went down instead, or did nothing, I did not listen to rumors that it would come back. I sold it. My mind was made up that I was wrong, and I took my loss before it became a devastating one. The average man does the opposite. He buys on a rumor. When the stock goes down, he listens for more rumors that will feed his hope and justify his mistake. He becomes what I call an involuntary investor, locked into a losing position, praying for a miracle. Hope is the greatest of all enemies in this business. It is the crutch of the amateur and the luxury the professional cannot afford. Therefore, your task is to build a fortress around your mind. When the whispers come, and they will always come, you must let them pass. Do not let them penetrate your process. Your process must be based on the impersonal and unemotional reading of the tape. Study the action of the market leaders. Understand group behavior. Wait for your pivotal points, the moments when the line of least resistance is clear. And when you act on your own judgment, not on the urgings of some anonymous crowd or a well-meaning fool. There is nothing new on Wall Street. There can't be, because speculation is as old as the hills. Whatever happens in the stock market today has happened before and will happen again. This is because the markets are not driven by reason or economics alone. They are driven by human nature, by greed, fear, ignorance, and hope. And human nature never changes. The man who peddled worthless mining shares in 1907 and the man who hypes a profitless tech company today are brothers under the skin. Their methods are the same, only their tools are different. So shut out the noise. The market speaks one language, and it is the language of price and volume. Learn to read it. Learn to trust it. The tape will not lie to you. The tape will not flatter you. It will not tell you stories or sell you dreams. It will simply tell you the truth. In the great, silent, impersonal battle of the market, the tape is your only friend, your only guide, and your only true source of information. Ignore the whispers. Listen to the tape.